Imagine you are a wizard in a medieval RPG.
Huh?
You find a potion that allows you to do impossible things. With a single drop, you can move a mountain. With a cupful, you can fly across the ocean. With a barrel, you can turn a handful of barren sand into a lush harvest that feeds millions. If you found this potion, you would probably think you had discovered magic. But this isn't fantasy. This is our reality. For the last 150 years, humanity has been injecting a thick, foul-smelling liquid directly into the veins of our civilization. We call it black gold. It is the most concentrated form of portable energy we've ever found in the universe. It has pulled billions of people out of poverty, illuminated the darkest nights, and shrunk the globe. But this magic came with a terrible curse. It has fueled the most destructive wars in human history. It is slowly cooking our atmosphere, and, perhaps scariest of all, we are addicted to it. We are in a toxic relationship with the earth itself. We know oil is killing us, we know it's running out, and yet, we know that if it disappeared tomorrow, our world would literally stop. Civilization would collapse in weeks. How did we get here? How does this massive, invisible market actually work? And why is the world's greatest superpower obsessed with a specific kind of thick tar hidden deep under the jungles of Venezuela? To understand the future of our species, we have to look into the black heart of the oil industry. To understand oil, we have to look back, way back. Beyond your grandparents, beyond the Roman Empire, to a time hundreds of millions of years ago, before the dinosaurs even walked the earth. There is a common myth that oil is dinosaur juice. This is wrong. Oil is actually the ghost of the ocean. It is mostly the remains of trillions of tiny microscopic organisms, algae and plankton. These tiny creatures spent their lives soaking up the sun's energy. When they died, they snowed down to the bottom of ancient, stagnant seas. Over millions of years, they were buried under miles of rock and sand. The pressure was unimaginable. The heat was intense. This dead organic soup was cooked by the planet itself, transforming from biological waste into long chains of chemical energy. Let's look at the chemistry. At its heart, oil is a hydrocarbon. A chain of carbon atoms hugged tightly by hydrogen atoms. These chains are like tiny, molecular batteries. They are holding onto the sunlight from the Jurassic period. When we burn oil today, we are literally snapping those chemical bonds and releasing ancient sunlight all at once. For most of human history, we ignored this black sludge bubbling up in random places. We used it to waterproof boats or as a sticky glue. But in 1859, everything changed. A man named Edwin Drake drilled a hole in Pennsylvania and struck a gusher. Suddenly, we had a cheap way to light our lamps, saving the whales that we had been hunting to extinction for their oil. Then came the internal combustion engine. Suddenly, oil wasn't just for light, it was for motion. The 20th century became the century of oil. We fought world wars to secure oil fields, we built sprawling cities designed for cars, and we based our entire global financial system on the trade of this one liquid. The oil market is the largest, most complex, and most volatile machine humans have ever built. But it's not just about pumping and selling. It's about chemistry and geography. Crude oil is not all the same. It comes in hundreds of different flavors, and the difference matters. On one end of the spectrum, you have a light and sweet crude. It flows like water and has very little sulfur. It is easy to refine, making it the champagne of oils. On the other end, you have heavy and sour crude. This stuff is thick like molasses or peanut butter. It is full of impurities and sulfur, smelling like rotten eggs. It is a nightmare to process. You can't just put crude oil into a car. You have to crack it. This happens in the cathedral of the oil age, the refinery. Inside massive steel towers, we boil the oil. As it heats up, the different molecules separate. The lightest vapors rise to the top to become propane and jet fuel. The middleweight liquid settle to become gasoline and diesel. The heaviest, thickest sludge sinks to the bottom to become asphalt for our roads and bunker fuel for giant ships. Because oil is everywhere, the world needs a universal price tag. We use benchmarks. The two kings are Brent Crude, which prices oil from the sea, and WTI, West Texas Intermediate, which prices American oil. But the price isn't just supply and demand. It's controlled by a club of giants, called OPEC+. Led by Saudi Arabia and Russia, this cartel controls about 40% of the world's supply. They act like a central bank for energy. If the price gets too low, they agree to turn off the taps to create a shortage. If the price gets too high and threatens the global economy, they open them up. It is a constant, high-stakes poker game played with the world's economy. Now, let's talk about the specific drama you asked about. Venezuela. Venezuela sits on the largest proven oil reserves on the planet, even more than Saudi Arabia. So why is their economy in ruins, and why is the United States so deeply involved? It comes down to a tragic mismatch of geology and technology. Venezuela's oil is not like Saudi oil. It is extra heavy crude. It is so thick that at room temperature, it is almost a solid. To even move it through a pipeline, it has to be mixed with lighter fluids, almost like thinning down paint. To turn this sludge into gasoline requires incredibly expensive, specialized refineries. For decades, the United States was the best customer for this oil. American refineries, specifically those on the Gulf Coast, spent tens of billions of dollars building massive machines called cokers. These are high-tech pressure cookers designed specifically to digest the heavy, sour oil from Venezuela. Here is the irony: when the US started the shale revolution and began producing record amounts of its own oil, it ran into a problem. US shale oil is light. It is too thin. American refineries actually cannot run efficiently on just American oil. They need the heavy, dirty Venezuelan oil to mix in, like blending a cocktail, to keep their machinery working properly. So, the conflict between the US and Venezuela wasn't just about politics. It was a geopolitical stranglehold. When the US imposed sanctions on Venezuela to pressure the Maduro government, they blocked the sale of this oil. This devastated Venezuela's income, leading to economic collapse. But it also hurt the US, starving American refineries of the heavy crude they were built to process. It is a bizarre paradox where two enemies are economically dependent on each other, locked in a dance of sanctions and shortages. If you think oil is just for your car, look around you. If oil vanished right now, you would be standing in a room that is 70% empty. Oil is the DNA of the modern world. We call these petrochemicals, and they are the silent building blocks of your life. The food link. This is the most critical and terrifying fact of the modern age. We eat oil. Natural gas and oil byproducts are the key ingredients in the Haber-Bosch process, which creates synthetic nitrogen fertilizer. Before this invention, nature limited how much food we could grow. Today, we inject fossil fuel-based nitrogen into the soil. Scientists estimate that without these fertilizers, the Earth could only support about 4 billion people. The other 4 billion of us, likely including you and everyone you know, are alive today only because we figured out how to turn oil into bread. The motion link. Look at the tires on your car. They look like rubber from a tree, right? Wrong. Modern tires are about 50% synthetic rubber, a polymer made directly from petroleum. Every time you drive, friction grinds tiny microparticles of oil-based plastic off your tires and into the environment. We are literally driving on solidified oil. The medicine link. From the plastic in your 4-bag to the coating on your aspirin, from the sterile gloves of a surgeon to the heart valves that keep people alive. The medical world is built on plastics and chemicals derived from the refinery. Even the concept of sterile is often dependent on disposable, oil-based plastics. We aren't just using oil, we are wrapped in it. Our clothes, polyester, our toothbrushes, plastic, and our streets, asphalt, are all just different forms of the same black liquid. So, why don't we just stop? If oil is so dirty, so dangerous, and fuels so much conflict, why not just flip a switch to solar and wind? Because of the energy density problem. Oil is miraculously dense. A single gallon of petrol contains the energy equivalent of about 400 hours of human manual labor. To replace the energy density of oil with batteries or wind is an engineering challenge of epic proportions. This creates the green paradox. To build a green future, to build millions of wind turbines, millions of solar panels, and billions of electric cars, we need massive amounts of energy right now. We need to mine steel, melt copper, and transport concrete. And today, the only energy source powerful enough to do that at scale is oil. We are in a trap. We have to burn oil to build the machines that will eventually replace oil. It's a transition that takes decades, not days. Countries like China and India are building solar farms faster than anyone in history, but they are also building coal and oil plants. Why? Because a growing economy is a hungry beast, and oil is still the easiest, cheapest calorie you can feed it. So, the final question, how many years do we have left? If you listen to the news, we've been 10 years away from running out for the last 50 years. There are two ways to look at this. The geologist's view says that at current consumption rates, we have about 50 years of proven reserves. But proven is a financial term, not a physical one. It just means the oil we can get profitably right now. As technology improves, we can drill deeper and cheaper. We probably won't run out of physical oil in the ground for centuries. The economist's view is different. They say we will reach peak demand long before we reached peak supply. Think about the Stone Age. The Stone Age didn't end because we ran out of stones. It ended because we found something better, bronze. The Oil Age will end not when the wells run dry, but when we find something better. By 2030, the International Energy Agency predicts we will hit the peak. Between electric vehicles, renewable grids, and new bioplastics, the world is slowly trying to detox from its oil addiction. But it won't be a clean break. It will be a messy, loud, and complicated divorce. Oil gave us the modern world. It gave us the ability to transcend our biological limits. It turned us from clever apes into a global civilization that can reach the stars. It allowed us to double our life expectancy and connect the entire planet. But it came with a price. The struggle in places like Venezuela, the wars in the Middle East, the warming of our oceans, these are the costs of our addiction. We are living in a brief, explosive moment in history where we burn the ancient past to fuel our present. Our story with oil is far from over. It's a story of survival, greed, and incredible human ingenuity. We are the generation that has to figure out how to keep the world running without burning the ground beneath our feet. And for now, the birds are still flying, even if they have to navigate a world built on black gold. If you learned something new today, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching.